Welcome to a new planetary and seismic update. We're going to have a quick look at the previous time frame from the 18th to the 27th. I emphasized the clustering of planetary and lunar geometry on the 18th and 19th, also on the 21st, 22nd and specifically here on the 26th. And if you look at the seismic activity that we had in this time frame, we do see the clustering of stronger earthquakes at the time following those peaks. Here on the 19th peaking magnitude 6 and on the 20th 5.9. Then on the 21st, 22nd, 2 magnitude 6 earthquakes within 24 hours. This is well above average. And then look at the 26th, tight clustering here, very dense, a burst of stronger earthquakes in the higher 5 magnitude range. And this is the typical temporal clustering that we see so often, evidence of seismic modulation. And we know that this is caused by the planets and the moon. And that's why we emphasize these clustering or the convergence of critical planetary lunar geometry, especially here on the 26th, where we saw the huge convergence of critical geometry. So let's have a quick look at the upcoming time frame from the 27th up until the 5th of February. The 27th here overlaps, and we see actually one really critical convergence. That's tomorrow on the 29th, with Venus, Mercury, Earth in an alignment. That's critical. Followed by Moon, Jupiter, also critical, and then the full moon here on the 1st of February. These 3 days or 4 days from the 29th to the 1st of February, that's going to be critical. And I'll show you why. If we look at the solar system, we see this tight convergence of lunar geometry, especially the 135-degree geometries. And this is because the Sun, Mercury, Venus and Mars are grouped in space as seen from Earth. And that's why the moon makes these angles in a very short time. This is all tomorrow, a really tight convergence. And at the same time we have Saturn and Neptune also grouped in space, making 90 degrees with the moon at the same time. Most critical here is Venus, Mercury, Earth. That's happening tomorrow. I also pointed to the moon with Jupiter and Mars. That happens on the 31st and on the 1st of February, followed by the full moon. This is very significant. It's the sequence or the synchronicity of this Venus-Mercury-Earth alignment. That's a critical one. We see Venus there, there's Mercury in an alignment here with Earth. And days before the full moon, that is critical. And I'll show you why. Because that's pretty rare that we have this synchronicity in the solar system. In 2013 we had almost the same geometry, a tight convergence of 135-degree geometries. Also because the Sun, Mercury, Venus and Mars were grouped here in space, and we had 135 degrees with Jupiter and with Neptune at the same time. And that's really critical when the outer planets make this kind of geometry with the moon at the same time or on the same day. This was also a very tight convergence of lunar geometry. Also with Venus, Mercury, Earth in an alignment just before the full moon. And what happened on the 24th of May was a magnitude 8.3 deep under the sea of Okhotsk. Almost 600 kilometers, pretty rare. And this is the seismic activity that we can have with that geometry, especially with Mercury and Venus combined. That can be critical, but it requires a larger fault section for these large earthquakes to occur. If there is no larger fault section that has reached the tipping point, then we may see increased seismic activity well into the 5 magnitude range, borderline 6, this typical clustering. There can be higher 6 in there or even into the 7 magnitude range. But magnitude 8 earthquakes and larger, they don't occur very often, on average once per year approximately. But in reality they tend to cluster. So we don't have a magnitude 8 every year. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes we have 4 years without a magnitude 8 earthquake. So this is definitely geometry to keep an eye on. This is really significant. And if we look at the SSGI graph again, I would say here from the 29th, that's tomorrow, until at least the 2nd of February, that is a critical time. And there can be a large earthquake, especially here I think from the 31st, the 1st or the 2nd of February. These 3 days are probably most critical, but in general, overall, from the 29th to the 2nd of February, that is going to be critical. Be on extra alert. There can be large seismic activity because of its convergence, followed by Moon, Jupiter, and also the full moon here on the 1st of February. Other than that, we don't really have critical geometry in this time frame. It's really from the 29th until the 2nd And third, and we see some lunar geometry here at the time and following the time of full moon, and that can cause the typical burst of stronger earthquakes like a higher 5 magnitude range, maybe even into the 6 magnitude range on the second and third in particular. This is what we're going to have in the coming time frame. Check out the website for the latest updates and also the social media. Stay safe everyone, and until next time.